I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Cliff Miller. I'm the owner-operator of Southwest Institute of Chinese Martial Arts. I'd like to introduce us. We've been serving the public for almost 50 years now. Got some notes. We teach traditional Northern Shaolin Kung Fu. We also teach modern Wushu and Tai Chi. You can see all of those here today. Without further ado, I'd like to hand the mic over to the mayor, Ms. Lisa Martinez.
Thank you, Cliff. All right, how many of you out there have seen one of these shows before? How many of you? Oh, good number. Yeah, that's wonderful. All right, well, if you haven't, don't worry. I'm here to give you a sneak peek of all the action you're about to see. And if this is your first time at one of our shows, you picked a great day, because what you're about to see is something really special. All right, everyone. Today you're going to see 3 different styles of Chinese martial arts. First up is the Northern Shaolin Long Fist, then modern Wushu, and finally, something completely different, an internal martial art called Tai Chi. Now we're going to demonstrate all of that for you using something called forms. Forms are like shadow boxing. People, I'm sure you guys have heard of shadow boxing. You see empty hand forms and forms using weapons. And each form shows what happens when an opponent attacks, how you defend, and then counterattack. Sometimes it's one opponent, and then sometimes, of course, it's more than one. All right, everyone, we are going to start things off with the kicking team. They always go first at our shows because, hey, we got to warm up, right? And here's the cool part. These are the same kicks they practice right in the Kung Fu school, which, if you didn't know, is on Lee Street and accepting new people. You can come for a class for free, your first class, to see if you like it. Parents, all ages, are encouraged to come check out our classes on Lee Street, in Kung Fu and in Tai Chi. All right, everyone, let's break it down. The first set of kicks is going to be the straight kicks. butterfly kick. Teaches the basics of modern Chinese martial arts. It's not about fighting, it's about balance, coordination, control, and building the skills students need for more advanced forms. The children's long fist set. The children's Northern Shaolin long fist set is a simplified routine designed to introduce young students to the fundamentals of Shaolin martial arts in a safe, engaging way. It focuses on basic stances, simple strikes, kicks, and coordinated movements that build balance, flexibility, and confidence. I'm proud to introduce Paul Christian doing a solo long fist set. A long fist, or Chang Quan routine, is a wushu form characterized by extended flowing movements that emphasize speed, power, flexibility, and full body coordination. A long fist routine focuses on athletic expression and precision rather than close range combat, making it foundational style in modern wushu. she will be doing the broadsword and chain whip. A broadsword and chain whip combination form is a wushu routine that integrates the contrasting qualities of a flexible weapon and a solid bladed weapon into one continuous performance. The chain whip emphasizes fluidity, circular motion, speed, and control, while the broadsword highlights strong cuts, powerful stances, and decisive technique. Next up, I'll be introducing Colton Cates, performing a beginner Nan-Dao, or Southern Broadsword form. The Nan-Dao is a powerful wushu weapon associated with Southern Chinese martial art styles. Nan-Dao training emphasizes rooted power, coordination between the waist and the arms, and a bold, aggressive martial spirit. Following them is going to be Jude Young with the monk spade. The monk spade is a traditional Chinese pole weapon historically associated with Buddhist monastic warriors. It features a long staff with a crescent-shaped blade on one end and a spade on the other, symbolizing both compassion and martial readiness. Next up, we're going to have James Howard performing the Erlu Meifu. The Erlu Meifu is an intermediate to advanced Northern long fist style routine known for its strong stances, sharp changes in direction, and rhythmic combination of strikes, kicks, and footwork. Historically, Meifu, or plum blossom-based training methods, were inspired by the resilience of the plum blossom, symbolizing perseverance, structure, and adaptability under pressure. This here is Gunnar Thacker performing the Shaolin 13 Spear. Known as the king of the weapons, the Shaolin 13 Spear is a traditional spear routine associated with the Shaolin Temple, highlighting direct, efficient battlefield techniques. Training the Shaolin 13 Spear develops timing, accuracy, footwork, and disciplined power. Great job, Gunnar. All right, next up we have the Yi Lu Quan group set. The Yi Lu Quan is a first row long fist-based routine performed by multiple practitioners in a synchronized formation. It emphasizes fundamental stances, basic punches, kicks, and directional changes, focusing on unity, timing, and consistent technique across the group. The form builds strong foundations while teaching students spatial awareness, discipline, and teamwork through coordinated movement. Following that groove is going to be Isaiah Rivera with the Chakuan number 4. The Chakuan number 4 is an intermediate, long fist style routine that builds on earlier Chakuan sets by increasing speed, complexity, and athletic demand. Good job. All right, the Black Tiger Fist Trio is up next with Gabe Rivera, James Howard, and Paul Christian. The Black Tiger Fist is a traditional Chinese martial arts set known for its aggressive power, low stances, and fierce hand techniques. Training the Black Tiger Fist develops physical toughness, explosive power, and a bold, relentless fighting spirit. Again with the San Lu Quan, or better known as the 32 step. The 32 step is an advanced long fist style routine that represents the third road of training, building on the fundamentals and combinations learned in earlier forms. The 32 step structure emphasizes precision, rhythm, and a clear martial intent, helping practitioners refine power generation and overall flow. Following Haven is going to be Noah Hinton, performing the Wushu Broadsword. The Wushu Broadsword is a dynamic Chinese martial arts weapon form known for its bold, flowing movements and powerful cutting techniques. Training with the Wushu Broadsword develops coordination, speed, balance, and the ability to blend explosive power with smooth, continuous motion. Good job, Noah. All right, Isaiah Rivera is up again with the Wushu Staff. The Wushu Staff is a foundational long weapon form that emphasizes speed, control, and full body coordination. Training with the staff builds strength, agility, spatial awareness, and fluid movement, forming the technical base for many other traditional and modern Wushu weapons. our second group routine of the afternoon. This is the 5 animal form. The 5 animal form is a traditional routine inspired by the movements and spirit of 5 symbolic animals performed in synchronized group formations. Each animal represents distinct qualities, and the form blends strikes, stances, and flowing transitions that reflect those characteristics. Practicing the forms as a group emphasizes timing, coordination, and unity, while also teaching adaptability and expressive movement drawn from cultural martial traditions. Next up, we're going to have Miss Ava Moss Perez performing the very traditional 6-harmony broadsword routine. The Northern Shaolin 6-harmony broadsword form is a traditional weapon routine that applies the 6-harmony principles, coordinations of hands, feet, elbows, knees, heart, and intent into broadsword practice. All right, Paul Christian is going to grace our stage again with the chain whip. The 9-section chain whip is a traditional Chinese flexible weapon made of 9 linked metal sections, prized for its speed, unpredictability, and long reach.
Get ready to mount.
stage, this time with the Heaven and Earth Sword. Despite its brutal appearance, the Heaven and Earth Sword requires a surprising degree of finesse to wield it effectively. Proper use emphasizes precise hand placement, controlled body rotation, and tight footwork to manage the weapon's curved balance and multiple striking angles. True mastery of this sword is shown not through wild strength, but through disciplined control, timing, and ability to flow smoothly between offense and defense while maintaining constant pressure. A couple minutes with some Tai Chi. How does that sound? Yeah, Tai Chi. Who has heard of Tai Chi? I'm sure most of you, if you haven't heard of it, I'm sure you've probably seen it. The Tai Chi Yang Style 24-step is a simplified, standardized Tai Chi routine designed for beginners and experts alike and group practice. It emphasizes slow, continuous movements, relaxed posture, weight shifting, and coordinated breathing to develop balance, body awareness, and internal control. When performed as a group, the form highlights harmony, timing, and calm focus, reinforcing Tai Chi's principles of unity, mindfulness, and smooth flowing energy. Back to some more Kung Fu. Next up we have Gabe Rivera. It's not his first time on stage, but this will be his first solo. The Northern Dragon form is a Northern Chinese martial arts routine known for its coiling movements, sudden directional changes, and a balance of fluidity and explosive power. Ladies and gentlemen, next up we have the owner-operator of the Southwest Institute of Chinese Martial Arts, Mr. Cliff Miller. What you see is the Tai Chi spear, and it is a traditional weapon form that applies Tai Chi principles of softness, continuity, and internal energy to a long, flexible weapon. Next up, we have a two-person fighting set with James Howard and Ava Mas Perez. Traditional Shaolin two-person fighting sets are pre-arranged partner routines that preserve classical combat techniques through controlled, realistic exchanges. If that wasn't fun enough, here comes something I'm sure you've all seen before. These guys and gals are gonna break some boards. First up, we have Colton Cates and Ivan Young. And while they're getting situated, just a reminder, if you or your little ones like anything that you've seen here today, this school is open to kids and kids at heart, all ages, to come check out. And remember, you can come visit us first class for free. So you can even see if you like it. But down on Lee Street, the Southwest Institute of Chinese Martial Arts. be Paul Christian and James Howard. Awesome job, everyone. That was fun and exciting. All right, Cliff Miller is up again. The Quang Dao is a powerful Chinese polearm distinguished by its heavy crescent-shaped blade mounted on a long shaft, emphasizing strength, reach, and sweeping power. It is traditionally associated with Guan Yu, the legendary general of the Three Kingdoms era, who is often depicted wielding the weapon as a symbol of loyalty, righteousness, and martial virtue. While later martial forms were developed to honor his legacy, modern Quang Dao practices focuses on full body coordination, rooted stances, explosive cuts, and disciplined control of this heavy weapon. Ladies and gentlemen, for our final act of the afternoon, we have Isaiah Rivera, Paul Christian, and James Howard. The three-person staff sparring set is a choreographed wushu routine where three practitioners perform coordinated attacks, defenses, and exchanges using these staffs. It emphasizes timing, spatial awareness, and synchronized movements, allowing each participant to demonstrate both offensive and defensive techniques in a controlled, dynamic environment. Mr. Cliff Miller has a few words in closing. I have a few words to say in honor of Mr. Cliff Miller. What you just saw, ladies and gentlemen, is a traditional Chinese martial arts as it was meant to be practiced. It's not just fighting, but self-discipline, health, and balance. At Southwest Institute of Chinese Martial Arts, we train children and adults and seniors in Kung Fu and Tai Chi. If this spoke to you, we'd love to talk with you afterwards, and we'd love for you to come down and visit the school. Before we get out of here, the Southwest Institute of Chinese Martial Arts will be hosting a community safety training day on a future Saturday, featuring active shooter awareness and response training and stop the bleed life-saving skills training. If that interests you at all, you can talk to Mr. Cliff Miller or Mr. Stephen Martinez down here. This event is educational and preventative in nature, focusing on situational awareness, avoidance, emergency response, and basic life-saving control techniques. It is designed to empower participants with knowledge and preparedness, not fear. The training will be open to students, families, and members of the local community. The date, time, registration will be available on our institution's Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and the Southwest Institute of Chinese Martial Arts located at 2602 Southwest Lee Boulevard. Or ask any of the Southwest Institute of Chinese Martial Arts leadership that you saw on this stage today. Thank you, everyone, and have a wonderful afternoon.